Okay, so signal strength's not very good here. See whether it'll go up. Okay, well, a very good morning from Phuket. Apologies, I've just been live streaming, but unfortunately I'd got it set to private. Hadn't realised, because I've been doing some testing over the last few days. As you know, I'm trying to get my live streaming sorted out, and I inadvertently started live streaming this morning with it still set on private. So I've just done 5 or 10 minutes showing the lovely Karon Beach, and nobody's been watching it simply because I haven't been public. But I am now, so I'm going to start again. We're down at the southern end of Karon's Beach, so just across the road there is Kata Villa and the Horizon Resort. I forget the name of this resort that's right in front of me at the very end of Karon's Beach, but very beautiful here this morning, as you can see. Lovely blue sky. We've just been talking to this fisherman here who's been catching fish right off the beach, but unfortunately on the one that I've just been broadcasting, I'd got it set to private, so apologies there, school by error. But I have been testing my live streams out over the last few days. As I mentioned, I want to broadcast off my cameras, which I can now do, but I'm not happy with the app. What was this fish called again, Nat? Plasai. Okay, so this guy here has just been catching fish straight off the beach. I don't know whether you can see that in the bottom of the bucket, but apparently Nat said these are delicious fried. So he's got a few in there already. Oh, he's just caught one. There you go. Straight off the beach at Karon. That's amazing. Great. Lovely. That's a decent size as well, considering that's off the beach. Really amazing. Now I'm going to try and put on the chat. Oh, wrong one. You'll have to bear with me because the sun is very hot. It's very bright today, and it makes it difficult to see my phone screen. Even though my screen's at maximum brightness, it's very difficult to read and see the chat. But as you can see, blue sky, beautiful morning, a little bit of cloud, not too much, light breeze, so excellent weather for a change. Very mixed the weather's been, even in March. Normally the dry season, it's normally very, very nice in March, but this year we have been getting quite a bit of rain. So Tuesday, of course, Nat's day off, business closed, so we try to take Shadow down the beach, and there she is, look, enjoying. She'd just been swimming, and I captured that on the other stream that I was doing, but unfortunately nobody was watching it because I'd got it set to private. My mistake. So I wanted to come down, do a stream. I'm going to be doing a live stream from Kata tonight, so if you're interested, I'm going to be showing some of Kata's nightlife. Now I'm going to be breaking down the nightlife ones into sections. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because these areas are really too large to walk around in one go live streaming. And if I jump on the back of the bike, the problem that I've got is, of course, being a live stream, I can't pause it. And that means you're going to get all the noise and everything off the wind noise, the bike noise, and it's not going to be great to watch. Plus, when you're on the back of the bike, even when that's driving it slowly, things are still whizzing past quickly and you don't get to see everything. So I want to do these nightlife videos on foot, but of course on foot the areas are a little bit too large. I've got a video coming out today at 12 o'clock on the start of Patong's nightlife, so I'm not going to be just looking at Bangla Road and Beach Road. I want to show you the whole area. So we're going to be doing quite a number of videos that will allow me to do that. The first one is tonight, and we're going to be looking at the area around Marlene Plaza, which has been closed for a long time. This is quite a popular area. There are bars around there, of course, lots of restaurants. So we're going to have a walk down there, as you will see on the video at 12 o'clock. If you're interested, have a watch of that. Then tonight I'm going to be out live streaming from Kata. I'm going to start, well, I'm not sure yet where I'm going to start, but obviously I'm going to have to make a few videos to be able to cover the whole area, because not everybody wants to go to certain areas. Like people that go to Patong, don't necessarily want to go to Bangla Road. They may visit it once or twice during the holiday, but they may not want to visit it every single day of their holiday. So it's useful to know other areas. I'm going to cover Soi Het, which is known as the Mushroom Soi, because that's a popular area. There's a collection of bars and restaurants there that you can use. Of course, I'm going to do the O-Top area in detail, and other areas of Patong and Nanai Road. Again, this road is very long. It's difficult to walk down it in one go because the video would be too long, and of course if I'm live streaming then it's going to be using up an awful lot of data, so that's something I have to bear in mind as well. And I have to keep an eye on the actual quality of the video. At the moment it looks okay. Hoping the video is working well. Hi Tony. Just about see that. Good morning wherever you are. I don't know where you are in the world, but it's a beautiful morning. Let's have a look at this beach because there's people enjoying it already. We're still quite early in the morning. I'm not quite sure of the time. I'm going to try and pull down if I can. Let's have a look. 10 o'clock. It's just 2 minutes to 10 in the morning, so still fairly early, and there's a few people on Karon's Beach. And there she is, Shadow, enjoying her morning walk. Just been swimming, as I say. It's quite funny because if you look back on my earlier videos, here she goes. There she goes. Oh no, oh, she's going. No, changing her mind. She has been swimming. But if you look back on some of the earlier videos when we first had her, she was absolutely terrified of the water. And now you struggle to keep her out. What a big change. It's nice to see her swimming and exercising in the water. As I mentioned, the weather just lately in March has been very mixed, which is unusual for March because of course March is the dry season over here, and normally February and March are normally really good months, but this year has not been as good. We have had rain, not loads of it, but we have had rain. We've had some storms, mainly in the evening time, an hour or two. Sometimes it's lasted longer than that, but most of the time it's just been an hour or two. So fingers crossed, if the weather holds today, there is forecast no rain tonight. As I say, I shall be out doing another live stream and we'll start to cover some of the Kata nightlife, because I've near enough finished in the Karon area. Of course I will be calling back from time to time to cover what's going on as things improve over the coming months, hopefully. Now I'm going to mention something that one of the members in my group, my Facebook group, if you're not already a member of my Facebook group, then consider joining it, because I have stuff in there that I don't necessarily cover on YouTube. I try to, but sometimes the stuff doesn't warrant a video. But a member in my Facebook group mentioned to me about a situation that he's found himself in. He's over here now, I believe he's in Karon if I'm right, because he said he'll look out for me and maybe we'll bump into each other. His name's Tom, and he mentioned that people travelling to Thailand that have recently had COVID within like a short period of time, I think you have to have had it and got rid of it 14 days or more, if I'm right in what I'm saying, and then you can have a recovery certificate, and then you are allowed to come into Thailand and you don't need to quarantine. However, Tom mentioned the fact that he's recently had COVID. He didn't say how long ago it had been, but when he got to the airport he actually tested positive. Now if that happens, normally you would show the recovery certificate, and that then would say that you've had it, you're recovering from COVID, and you shouldn't need quarantine. But unfortunately he's got put into quarantine, and what he's saying is in the UK the certificate that you get, it's something to do with the CT count, and if I'm right in what I'm saying, Tom was saying that it's the CT count here in Thailand is 40 and above, I think it is, but for the certificate in the UK you get it if you're 30. or above or lower or something. I think it's 30 or lower, and here you have to be above 40. So because the certificate, even though he's got the certificate of recovery, it wouldn't allow him to come into Thailand without quarantine, so he's had to quarantine. And apparently it's something that's been missed and not highlighted on the websites that obviously to do with the tourism side. So this is something that Tom felt that I should highlight on a video to make people aware, because obviously if you're coming out to Thailand and you've recently had COVID and you could test positive at the airport, just because you have a recovery certificate, which in theory should be able to give you the immunity to having to go into quarantine, even though you've got no symptoms, if that certificate is from the UK, where it's issued if your CT count is 30 or something, I think 30 or below, it doesn't cover you here in Thailand because the CT count is 40. So again, I try to clarify it with Tom. It's not an area that I'm familiar with, because as I've said before, I'm not the best person to speak to regarding entry into Thailand, because of course I live here. I don't come through the entry procedures all the time. I don't have the first-hand experience and the knowledge so that I can put it on a video and make it very, very clear for people, make it easy to understand. This is the problem that I have, so I'm relying on other people. But if you haven't joined my Facebook group, then consider joining, because it's now got over 1,000 members, and obviously the members in there share their experiences of coming into Thailand, and some of those experiences are like Tom's, very, very recent, in the last few days. So you're going to get knowledge from people that are experiencing it. So if you're coming to Thailand in the next few months and you're concerned about entry procedures and how it goes, then the group's a great place to be able to ask people that have got that knowledge. Whereas people ask me, and honestly it's difficult for me to advise people because I can only go on what I read online, and unfortunately, as we all know, not everything that you read online is actually accurate. And if I pass something on that's misleading, then I'm misleading people, which I don't want to do. So I try to be careful when it comes to that sort of situation, and I did try to clarify yesterday with Tom, so I was getting it right. I don't understand what this CT count is. I presume that's the way they measure the infection and how infectious you are, and I'm presuming that Thailand has a higher CT count than what they have in the UK. So obviously if you've got a count of a certain level, you get issued a certificate to say you're recovering, but that doesn't necessarily protect you from being quarantined. Now this quarantine issue, I have spoken about this before. Again, I want to clarify it because it is quite important, because there's a lot of people saying, oh, if you go to Thailand and you've got COVID, you're going to be hospitalised. That is not necessarily the case. Now, I can't speak for everyone, as I've said this. It does come down to individual cases. But if you are what they classify as a green patient, which means you are not showing any symptoms whatsoever, or very mild symptoms like maybe a headache, a sore throat or something like that, very mild symptoms, you should be able to quarantine at the hotel. Now, of course, if your hotel doesn't have quarantine facilities, then you may be able to move to a hotel that does. You don't have to necessarily go to hospital. Of course, this is going to be done on a case-by-case basis. I can't speak for everyone because it depends on your symptoms. The situation's going to have come into play. But this is where the SHA plus comes in. Now, it took me a while to clarify what the extra plus was, because I didn't actually know what the extra plus was until a few weeks ago. I didn't even know there was an extra plus, to be honest. What the extra plus is, if you book a hotel that's SHA plus approved, that means the hotel staff, at least 70% of their staff have been vaccinated, and the hotel meets the government's guidelines. Now, if you book a hotel that's SHA plus approved, the difference between the two is the extra plus means the hotel has on-site quarantine facilities. Now, this is very useful if you know you've had COVID in a very short period of time before you're traveling to Thailand. Then maybe consider booking a hotel with the extra plus, because if you was to test positive on entry, you should have the option of still being able to go to the same hotel, but obviously quarantine. Now, Tom mentioned it was 7 days. I thought they'd reduced it down to 5 days, but I may be wrong, because originally I think it was 10 days. They were talking about bringing it down to 5 days, but it looks like it's still at 7 days at the moment. So that's worth bearing in mind. So this is something that I just wanted to bring people up to speed on, because I think it's important that people should know, obviously, that if you're coming into the country and you know you've had COVID recently, even though you've got that recovery certificate, it's no guarantee that you won't get quarantined if you test positive. And there's a high likeliness of you testing positive if you've recently had COVID. From what I understand, I haven't had it, so I can't really speak from first-hand experience, but from what I'm gathering from the group and people that are sharing their experiences, if you've had it recently, then there's a very good chance that when you enter into Thailand and you get tested on that first test, you're going to come back positive, which then puts you into a difficult situation. Even if you've got no symptoms, you could end up having to go into quarantine, which nobody wants, of course, and you might feel that it's undeserved because you don't no longer have COVID, you're just recovering from it. But it's just the way things work over here, and unfortunately this issue hasn't been highlighted very well. And Tom said he knew about the recovery certificate, and he thought as long as he'd got the certificate showing that he had recovered from COVID, even if he tested positive, he wouldn't have to do quarantine. Now that wasn't the case, and he said he was a little bit what's the word I should use here, annoyed maybe, a little bit peeved off. I can understand it, because obviously if you've got that certificate and you are on the understanding as long as you're carrying that certificate you won't get quarantined, and then you do get quarantined, you're not going to be in the best mood, shall we say. So it's worth highlighting and making sure people are aware of that. So Tom asked me whether I'd include it in one of my videos, and I thought this morning was the ideal time to include it. So hopefully that's give you a little bit more insight into some of the rules that may not be necessarily crystal clear on the main official sites, because Tom said that it's not being highlighted on those sites, so it's worth looking at. Well, let's looking at this beautiful beach. As you can see, we've got a cracking day ahead of us. Beautiful blue sky, just look at that. What a day, what an absolute day. So I'm going to be out and about later, as I've mentioned. I'm going to cover Qatar's nightlife. I'm going to start to, as I've said, I want to break these nightlife videos down. Some will be done live. The live ones are going to be mainly around the bar areas, and the areas that I know in my own mind is not going to be available for monetization, because obviously when monetization is off, I do not get anything for the video as regards any compensation money wise. I don't get nothing, and I don't mind that, because I want to cover these areas. It's something that's been stopping me from covering in the areas, but I'm going to try and do them live if I can get the quality right and give you a really nice picture, and then you can see as it's happening at the bars, what's going on at the restaurants, etc. The ones that I can monetize, of course I will. I'm not going to say that I'm not going to monetize any of them. If I can, then I will, but if I can't, then I'm not going to worry about it. Adventure Florida to Thailand. Something, I'm trying to read it, but the sun's so bright. Let me have a look. The water and the sand is awesome on Karon. Yes, indeed, it is very awesome. You can see, let's go and have a walk over to the water and just look at the, I don't know whether my phone will do this justice. That's why I'm trying to get the live streams onto my camera, to be honest, because the picture's even better on my cameras than what it is on my phone. But just look at the colour of the water. That's one thing out of this whole situation that I can honestly say has actually benefited the island. The ecosystem of the island is the best I've seen it since I've been coming to Phuket in 10 years. And you can just see how clear the water is. Again, I don't have any filters to stop the reflections off the water on my phone. Your shadow there coming in for a swim, but it is absolutely beautiful. It's like a turquoisey blue, between green and blue is the best way of describing it, and it is absolutely fantastic. So if you're coming to any of the beaches here on the island of Phuket, then the beach areas are just absolutely, what's the word that I'm looking for? Pristine, I guess. Pristine. I mean, most of them now have been tidied up. not all, but most of them, especially the popular ones on the island, such as Karon and Kata, Patong of course. I mean, Patong Bay was well known for a very long time to not have the best quality water-wise because of an issue as regarding where the wastewater is exited into Patong Bay. I'm trying to be careful on what I say because you have to be careful when you say certain stuff. I'm leaving my flip-flops here. Nat's walking down the beach. I thought she'd picked it up and then my flip-flops are there, so I just took them off to go in the water. But even Patong Bay now is looking fantastic, really, really nice, and that's simply because obviously with the lack of tourism, we've seen a lot of businesses closed over the last 2 years, of course, which means the waste problem hasn't been an issue, and it's given the island's ecosystem a real boost on the recovery side. And I can't honestly say I've ever seen the beaches, especially the water on the edge of the beaches, looking so nice. It really is beautiful. Wherever you go on the island, the water's fantastic. So yeah, if you're coming over here and you're going to be staying at one of the beach resorts, then fantastic. What? Oh, okay. Oh, she's chasing the crabs. The little baby crabs. She loves to do that. She does it down Anyong because there's a lot on that beach. And she loves to chase them. Yeah, crab there, huh? Oh, he's upside down, is he? Yeah. Oh, he's still alive? Yeah. No, yeah. Play dead. He play dead because his shadow. Sometimes she catches him and says, no, don't get eating. Put him in the water out of the way. You leave him alone. He's not hurting you. But she loves to chase them. Sometimes she'll catch one and eat it, have a fish breakfast. But most of the time she don't manage to catch them. It's nice to see her enjoying herself in and out the water. Okay, well, I think I'm gonna cut the live stream there because I don't want to make it too long this morning, because again, as I've mentioned, I just wanted to highlight a couple of things that I've already spoken about and mention the fact that I'm going to be doing a live stream tonight from Kata. So we're going to be looking at some of the Kata nightlife, so watch out for that video later if you're about. I'm also got a video going live at 12 o'clock today, which is the start of the Patong nightlife, and I've mentioned I'm going to be covering different areas in Patong, probably some areas that you don't know about. There's Kalim, which is the north part of Patong, which is really nice. They have an area where there's a lot of street vendors where you can buy food and sit on the rocks looking out, and a beautiful area. We went there the other day and it was extremely busy. I mean, it was that busy we couldn't park. There was no parking. So we decided to leave that for that day for filming, or that evening. So I shall be back to Kalim. But we're going to start over by the Marlin Plaza, which is now open in Patong. So have a look at that video. That'll be available at 12 o'clock. Obviously that one's not live, it's been pre-recorded. I'm going to do so many pre-recorded ones and so many live stuff. The live stuff is really when I'm around the bars and stuff like that. So watch out for those videos. For all the people that have been watching this morning, thank you very, very much for watching. I do really appreciate all the views that I get, all the people that subscribe to my channel. Of course, if you're watching this live stream and you haven't yet subscribed, then please consider it, because I'm going to be doing an awful lot of content. As you have seen in the last few weeks, I've put out an awful lot of videos, both recorded, pre-recorded and live videos, and there's going to be a lot more live videos coming your way. Don't forget to check out the description later. Social links will be in there. Anything relevant to the video will be in the description, but of course at the minute there's nothing there because this is a live video. But once I get home I shall update that as always, which just leaves me to say, as always, thanks for watching, and until next time, you take care and I'll catch you on the next one.